Darachin Yarakol Azjargal Tsogtsaikhan Azjargal Ulaanbaatar is the one, and Sydney Yuksorgasogat or New York IBM at New York at Azjargal. The next speaker is Azjargal Tsogtsaikhan. Azjargal grew up in Mongolia, and he studied in Sydney, Australia. Currently, she works in IBM New York, and recently she co-founded U.S. branch of London for children's rights and advocacy and anti-human trafficking and domestic violence in Mongolia and worldwide. And he is very active on the social media, Facebook and so on. She is promoting Mongol around many countries through Facebook Live and so on. She going to give a speech, and she has a slide. I was going for a slide up. Please.
Намайг багшд авахтай Tsogtsaikhan Azjargal гэдэг. Тэгээд би Нью-Йоркт ирээд 4 жил болж байна. So I'll be English, so everyone can understand me. I'm going to speak English. Just introduce myself, and I want you to watch this video. Who knows this poem? Be Mongol Khum? I'm a Mongol. I invite everyone to learn this poem because it was written by Can I go full? Okay, great. So if you didn't understand what the little kid said, I'll just translate it for you. Apologize for the not so professional, not poetic translation. The kid said, I was born in a gear with the scent of a dung smoke. I considered the steppe my swaddle. As I cast my eyes across the blue mist and the vast expanse, my soul is filled with pride and joy. The caress of the blowing wind is like unto a kiss or a stroke of my merciful mother. As the gracious feelings of joy stir my heart, tears of happiness fill my eyes. So every Mongol child, at least in Mongolia, learns this poem, Be Mongol Khum. And I even remember my parents always tell me that when I barely learned to speak, I tried to learn this poem. I would stand against the wall and I would say, I think I was trying to say, and then I would try to sing a long song. I'm sure I didn't do well, and I still cannot sing well. Not long ago, I had dinner with Tsogtsaikhan and Sanjak and their families and their friends. And I was a little embarrassed because, and I felt jealous, because after we had bulls and we had, a nice lamb, they started singing. And one of them, it's Doshin Tinger's sister, she started singing a long song. And I've never heard Ortindo or long song being sang at home during like a after dinner, get together. And that was so beautiful, it touched my heart profoundly. And I thought to myself, one day I will learn. And I admired her so much that, people from Southern Mongolia and worldwide Mongols, they not only preserved the language and the Mongol script, but also majority of them at least mastered an art form, a folk art form, whether it be Moranhor or Stindo or Bibike, and they not only just do it socially, but they do it quite well, almost on a professional level. And I really respect that effort and hard work in embracing their identity, Mongol identity, and sharing their talents with everyone else. And but when I was invited to sing, I only could sing. I'm not a singer. The only song that came to my mind was my Mongolian anthem, and I did not do well. So next time, I'll practice my singing skills, learn better songs, and hopefully I'll learn to sing Ortindo. So, anyways, as you know, I grew up in Mongolia. I did not grow up in the countryside like this lucky kid, but I was lucky enough to go to the countryside with my family every summer, camp out in tent or gear, go to the forest to pick strawberries and other berries and pine nuts, and ride horses and help out with milking cows and eating marmot or paravangima and drinking arak. I'm so good at arak that my grandpa and my dad, when they couldn't finish the big bowls of arak, I was like, give it to me, I'll drink it. I was that good. So I grew up as a Mongol kid, obviously in Mongolia. It was interesting. I've always been a good student, and I love languages ever since I was a child. And I was pretty good in class. And my grandma, when I started school in 1990, I started learning Mongol script in class as an elementary first grader. And my grandma, my mother's mother, is the first generation of Mongolians who were not allowed to use Mongol script. She was forced to learn Cyrillic. And when she tried to take notes in Mongol script, her teachers would slap her on her arm and say, stop it, use Cyrillic. But she really wanted to use Mongol script to take notes because it was much faster. And she would hide under her desk and, take notes secretly. And that was her. But when it was my turn to go to school, I had the privilege to learn Mongol script from the alphabet, right? But I learned Mongol script and Mongol for 4 years until the government decided they cannot continue it because they didn't, prepare enough human resources and teachers properly, and I had to learn Cyrillic, and Mongol script became just one class instead of, learning literature, math, and Mongol. So it's an interesting transition for me, and there are many of us like us. And I still know Mongol, but not as well as you do. And I really admired Tsogtsaikhan during the last Chinggis-Khan ceremony when he was giving speeches. I noticed, because I was the MC, I noticed his notes were all in Mongol. And I'm like, oh, I wish, I was so good at it that I could have my notes in Mongol and just use it on a daily basis. But I kind of lost that. And I will not really talk or explain, what's happening in Bayangol. You are, all these experts and activists, they told you and educated you on what's happening, and I came here to show solidarity and to show empathy and also support, and also speak out against these atrocities that are happening against our brothers and sisters in Southern Mongolia. Even though I've never been to Bayangol, I've never experienced that much, challenge or trial again in my efforts to be a Mongol, to obtain education in my language. I guess I have few experiences that are nothing compared to what Southern Mongolians have experienced or experiencing now, that helped me to understand what does it feel like to be forbidden or to be limited in being a Mongol. So when I first came to the U.S., I was supposed to do some customer service work online and chat with people with Americans, and I put my name as Aza. It's not even Azjargal, it's just Aza. And the supervisor, he came up to me and said, "Hey, can you change your name to Mary?" And I was like, "What?" It's like, just so people could feel comfortable, so they don't have to, have this prejudice against you that you're a foreigner. I just want them to feel like they're talking to Americans. I'm like, and then that was the first time. I've never felt like that before, and I was like, it was 10 years ago, and I thought, no way, How dare you ask me something like that? My name is my identity. I'm not changing it for anyone, It doesn't matter how you feel, you have to deal with me. And another time, I was in Utah trying to get my driver's license, and the DMV officer, he, I wrote, how you're supposed to sign your name? And I signed my name in Mongolian, and he saw that, and he was like, "You're in America, sign your name in English." And I was new, right? And then he was a person of authority. I was like, I felt really bad. And I was so confused, I was caught off guard, and I obliged. I signed my name with English letters. But I felt terrible. How can somebody tell me to sign my name in a different language? My signature, Mongol signature is my identity. But next time when I renewed my license, I did it. I signed it with Mongol, and the person didn't say anything. So I'm like, okay, not everyone is dumb, or I don't know, racist. But just experiences like that helped me to understand what is it like to be like a minority, or what is it like to be asked to give up who you are, even in the smallest sense. And for the last 2 years, I have been working, not working, it's like a side hustle. I work in finance, but okay, oops. I'll show this first. I've been an editor and a host for this page called Mongolia Live. And what we do is we have 430,000 followers from 50 countries speaking 48 languages. And our motto is to be cultural bridge between Mongolia and the world. And this was the perfect role for me because I love Mongolia. I love telling everyone that I'm Mongolian. And every little thing that is Mongolian, I'd like to tell people about it. Even shaka, even arut, even the way we step on each other's feet and, apologize. Every single thing I like to make into stories. And not only that, I love teaching our language to the world. Whenever I ask our followers if they wanted to learn Mongol Pishchik, they always want to learn it. So I'm going to start a class. I've been teaching words here and there, how to say happy birthday, how to say Halloween words, how to say family members. But I'm going to start teaching Mongol Pishchik, on this, and if you have foreign friends who want to learn, they can follow. And not only we just talk about culture and tradition and lovey-dovey things, but we also talk about human rights, children's rights, especially of indigenous, native people, and we're very vocal, and we don't have censorship, and we are very strongly opinionated as well. So, this past Tsogtsaikhan, I asked some of the different Mongol community members, Kalmyk, Buryat, everyone, and from Southern Mongolia to send me small videos of them with greeting in Tsogtsaikhan, during Tsogtsaikhan. And look how many people shared it, how many people liked, and there were so many comments, people loved it. And that's my goal, to unite all Mongols, to support each other. And what unites all Mongols is that our language, our Mongol culture and our language. Exactly what's being at risk in Bayangol, Southern Mongolia. So I have to make sure, I want to do my part to help this cause. I want them to have their language back. I want them to have their curriculum in Mongol language, because if we don't speak the language, if we cannot read and write Mongol literature, nothing else really makes us really Mongol. And what's really important about Mongol literature is that it was designed that all Mongols could understand each other. Maybe we cannot understand each other that well if we're talking to each other because of different dialects or because of accent, but if we use Mongol literature, it's designed. It incorporated different, variations of dialects. And so, for example, if we put Tsagam, white, I would say Tsagam, and Southern Mongolians would say Chagam, and we will still understand each other, So it's important that we hold on to this language, that we learn it so well, and we protect it at any cost. As I mentioned, we not only promote Mongol culture, not just from the country of Mongolia, from all Mongols around the world. And I'm thankful that many of you are here who sometimes, are asked to be in my video for free. So Davut from the Hazara community, not this past one, but the last Tsogtsaikhan, I just made a small short video with Davut. And we talked about barza, boats, lamb, our food. And then I asked about the genocide that's happening among the Hazara people in Afghanistan and Pakistan. And he told us what's happening, how human rights are being violated, and what the solution is, and what the world needs to do to contribute to this, to the resolution. And all the Hazaras and all the Hazaras, they shared it, and it started a conversation. I'm not from a media background, I'm just a girl who loves Mongolia and who has a phone and Facebook. And if more people are doing that, the world will spread. And then I also ended up on BBC World News and ended up in New Zealand trying to deliver a book that talks about Mongol and encourage the doctor to not use Mongol as Down syndrome. And examples are, I just went to Times Square in a Batar costume, and they're like, are you Mulan? Are you a samurai? and the Mickey Mouse are like, are you going to come here every day? Are you going to be one of us? I'm like, no, I'm a Mongol Batar. And then when I wear my bell here in America, they always say, ni hao, ni hao. It's really annoying. So I just drew this up and say, hey, I'm from Mongolia, don't say ni hao to me. Not everyone is Chinese. And this photo became very popular in Mongolia because they face it everywhere they go. And just to end, I just want to suggest some ideas how to, get this campaign going, this cause going forward. There is a campaign that's called Education is Not a Crime, and it's minority Baha'i religious community from Iran, and they have no right to get education. They cannot go to university, they cannot teach, just because they have different religion. It's even worse, like Southern Mongolian, they can go to university but in Chinese language, right? But they cannot go to school at all. If they teach or if they go to school, they'll get imprisoned. And if journalists cover it, they get imprisoned. So they started this mural street art campaign in different countries under a hashtag called Not a Crime or Education is Not a Crime, and they started conversations, and many communities around the world in different countries can relate to this, and they're joining it and they're raising awareness. And I even covered in Mongolia, and there was a guy who works at Google. His name was Huluk Chinggis, and he knew about his Mongol heritage, and he was a refugee. He had to escape Iran to get education. Now he is doing like a PhD in AI and working in Google. So I covered that story. So I was inspired by that. So I decided to raise awareness through street art about air pollution in Mongolia, and this was painted in Melbourne, Australia. If you look up ABC News and read Mongolia, you will see the video of how it came together. And the Mongolian artist, his name is Hesko. He is an activist for human rights, for Tibet, and for Mongolia, and he will be more than likely to collaborate with Southern Mongolian and other Mongols to raise awareness about the campaign through art as well. So, just to end, I will end with two quotes. Guess who said this? Diversity in the world is a basic characteristic of a human society and also the key condition for lively and dynamic world as we see today. Guess who said that? It was Hu Jintao. So let's encourage the world to, nudge a particular country that they live up to what they say. And that diversity is not about, or being one or one people and one language, or diversity is not about being the same or identical. It's about being different, but still respecting each other, still honoring each other, and still giving an opportunity and the freedom and the choice to everyone to be themselves and to speak their own language, to have their own beliefs, and live in peace and harmony as they want. So I'm willing to collaborate with you. I'm always connecting with people, and let's work together to spread the news. Thank you.